My, what good stuff we have here in Daniel 4. Listen up. King Nebuchadnezzar sent this message to the people of every race and nation and language throughout the world. Peace and prosperity to you. I want you all to know about the miraculous signs and wonders the Most High God has performed for me. How great are his signs, how powerful are his wonders. His kingdom will last forever, his rule through all generations. Yes, 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 yes. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was living in my palace in comfort and prosperity. But one night I had a dream that frightened me. This is the second dream here, not the first one. I saw visions that terrified me as I lay in my bed. So I issued an order calling in all the wise men of Babylon so they could tell me what my dream meant. When all the magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and fortune tellers came in, I told them the dream. Remember, the first time he didn't tell them, he wanted them to tell him. But they could not tell me what it meant. At last, I don't know why he didn't do it first, Daniel came in before me and I told him the dream. He was named Belteshazzar after my God, and the spirit of the holy gods is in him. And I'm going to keep saying Daniel instead of the belt word. I said to him, Daniel, chief of the magicians, which is wrong. He's not a magician. I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and that no mystery is too far for you to solve. Now tell me what my dream means. While I was lying in bed, this is what I dreamed. I saw a large tree in the middle of the earth. The tree grew very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for all the world to see. It was fresh, had fresh green leaves, and it was loaded with fruit for all to eat. Wild animals lived in its shade, and birds nested in its branches. All the world was fed from this tree. Then, as I lay there dreaming, I saw a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven. The messenger shouted, cut down the tree and lop off its branches, shake off its leaves and scatter its fruit, chase the wild animals from its shade and the birds from its branches, but leave the stump and the roots in the ground, bound with a band of iron and bronze and surrounded by tender grass. Now let me be drenched with the dew. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him live with the wild animals among the plants of the field for 7 periods of time. Remember, 7 is the number of perfection. Let him have the mind of a wild animal instead of the mind of a human. For this has been decreed by the messengers. It is commanded by the holy ones, so that everyone may know the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world. He gives them to anyone he chooses, even to the lowliest of people. Daniel, that was the dream that I, Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can do so. But you can tell me, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Upon hearing this, Daniel was overcome for a time, frightened by the meaning of a dream. I can just imagine the look on his face like, do I really need to tell you this? Then the king said to him, Daniel, don't be alarmed by the dream and what it means. Daniel replied, I wish the events foreshadowed in this dream would happen to your enemies, my lord, and not to you. The tree you saw was growing very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for the world to see. It had a fresh green leaves and was loaded with fruit for all to eat. Wild animals lived in its shade, and the birds nested in the branches. That tree, your majesty, is you. For you have grown strong and great. Your greatness reaches up to the heaven, and your rule to the ends of the earth. Then you saw a messenger, a holy one, come down from heaven and saying, cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and the roots on the ground, bound with the band of the iron and the bronze, and surrounded by the tender grass. Let him be drenched in the dew of heaven. Let him live with the animals for the 7 periods of time. This is what the dream means, Your Majesty, and what the Most High, capital letters there, has declared will happen to my lord the king. Lord, little lord, meaning King Nebuchadnezzar. Whenever you see a capital L for Lord, that's talking about God. Lowercase l is talking about, like the main person of the household. You will be driven by human society, and you will live in the fields of the wild animals. You will eat grass like a cow, and you will be drenched with the dew of heaven. 7 periods of time will pass while you live this way, until you learn that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world and gives them to anyone he chooses. But the stump of the roots of the tree were left in the ground. This means that you'll receive your kingdom back again when you have learned that heaven rules. So we have to not be selfish in our ways. We have to know it's about God and not about us. We're just here. King Nebuchadnezzar, or as I said, insert my name or any other name here, please accept my advice. Stop sinning and do what is right. Break from your wicked past and be merciful to the poor. Perhaps then you will continue to prosper. Insert my own name. Stephanie, stop sinning and do what is right. Break from your wicked past. Insert your name. Continuing verse 38. But all these things did happen to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, he was taking a walk on the flat roof of a royal palace in Babylon. As he looked out across the city, he said, "Look at the great city of Babylon. By my own power, this is all very selfish, I have built this beautiful city with my royal residence to display my majestic splendor." While these words were still in his mouth, how many times does that happen? Open mouth, insert foot. A voice called down from heaven, "Oh, King Nebuchadnezzar," I can just see the messenger shaking his head. "This message is for you. You are no longer ruler of this kingdom. You will be driven from human society. You will live in the fields with the wild animals. You will eat grass like a cow. 7 periods of time will pass while you live this way, until you learn that the Most High, not self, rules over the kingdoms of the world and gives them to anyone he chooses. That same hour the judgment was fulfilled, and King Nebuchadnezzar was driven from human society." God didn't waste any time. He said, okay, here you go. He ate grass like a cow. He was drenched with dew from heaven. He lived this way until his hair was as long as eagle's feathers and his nails were like bird's claws. That's gross. He was humbled. He was living in humility. And we got to get that way sometimes before God gets us right. Verse 34. After this time had passed, I, Nebuchadnezzar, looked up to heaven. My sanity returned, and I praised and worshiped the Most High, capital letters, and honored the one who lives forever. His rule is, here's God talking about God now. God's rule is everlasting, and his kingdom is eternal. All the people of the earth are nothing compared to him. He does as he pleases among the angels in heaven and among the people of the earth. No one can stop him or say to him, "What do you mean by doing these things?" I can imagine people saying things like right now in our society. "What do you mean, Lord?" But what do we have to do? Trust that God has great plan. When my sanity returned to me, so did my honor and glory and kingdom. My advisors and nobles sought me out, and I was restored as head of my kingdom with even greater honor than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and glorify and honor the King of heaven. All his acts are just and true, and he is able to humble the proud. True words, great advice for us all. I hope you're enjoying reading Daniel along with me, and be thinking about how, let's look at a better, no, not a better view, but a different view. Think about how God is using you through these words, and how you can make Daniel 4 applicable to your own life. All right. Have a beautiful day, because it is a beautiful day.